Hey guys, how's it going? It's Nick with Urban Farm Boys. I wanted to make a video today to talk about everything that I made this summer. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that I've been doing an everything I crocheted this month video pretty consistently since the beginning of the year, but it's been a little bit of a busy summer and a hectic summer, and so I missed one in there. I missed a July video. So now I'm doing everything I did in July and August. I hope you guys will forgive me. But I did a few things, and I'm excited to show you guys kind of what I worked on and catch up on how the summer's been. So as mentioned, it's been quite a busy summer. If you've been following some of my videos, you might know that I was in a very intensive summer course at the school as part of my nurse practitioner program. I did a lot of things this summer, but I was also just really busy with school. And then I had just under 4 weeks off for my summer break. I'm already back in my fall semester. But in the 3.5 weeks off that I had, we went to Mexico for a week, which was amazing. Then we came back and had a few days off, and then we hosted Andrew's sister's bachelorette party week at our house, and that was very busy, very fun, very tiring. And then I went back to work, and then I had another week off during which I got COVID, and that was just great. So, and then I went right back to school. So that was my summer break, and now we're back into it. But I did quite a few things, so I wanted to show you. I've continued with my temperature blanket. I'm going to show you my 2 months of my temperature blanket. I've made some other fun things that I'm going to show you. And I started a couple of projects that are not done. It's been busy, okay? So we're not quite finished with everything we started. But, oh, and I also have a really fun thing that is very fall themed. So let's get to it, shall we? As always, I'm going to start with my temperature blanket months. So let's start there. I have a 2024 temperature blanket that I'm working on, where I am doing a granny square for each month of the year. I'll post a link below if you'd like to learn more about what that looks like. But I've been doing a square for every single month, and I am going to show you July and August. I have my June video that will also be linked below. But for my summer, I completed 2 months of my granny square temperature blanket. So this is July. Let me hold it up for you guys to take a look at. This is July. So if you've watched all my other monthly videos, this is definitely summer themed. Not a whole lot of variation in the colors here in July. It was warm. It was in the 80s. We crept into the 90s a few times. We dipped down just 1 or 2 times. But that was July. Nice and hot. Little boring. Please watch my other videos where I talk about my temperature blanket. I started this at the beginning of the year when I was very, very new to crochet. I chose yarns and colors that I already had on hand. And my summer color scheme is not super thrilling to me, but you know what? I am totally obsessed with this project, and I like it. So that was July. And then because I skipped a month video, sorry guys, this is August. So we're starting to change. If you saw June in my last video, it looked a whole lot like July. But in August, we started changing. We actually dipped down in the temperatures a bit in August. My color scheme is a little weird. But that's August. August was also my super, super busy month. Sorry, the train's passing by from New York City. Give it a minute. Also, sorry about the light. The sun's creeping down now in front of my face. But this was my busy month too. So I didn't start this month until about the 20th of August. And I had to catch up really quickly. But I did. I finished it. I finished it on the very last day of August. Not even behind. So now we're in September. Today is September 9th. And I like to give myself a little bit of a break with my temperature blanket stuff in the beginning of the month, because it's really quick to work up these blankets. The first 2 weeks you can do in just like a couple of hours. So it's time to catch up on September, and I thought I would make a video about that and how I do my temperature blanket and all of that. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you can see kind of how I've been doing this. I'm officially 8 months done, 4 to go, 2/3 of the way through the year. I'm also going to make a video where I show you guys my progress, and I'll catch up on all of my squares from January through August or September, depending on when I post it. So 2 months of temperature blanket in the books. So my trend the last few months has been, because I've been doing so many granny square related things, I like to change it up a little bit and do some different things. And so I did something back in July that I was super excited about. Like kind of ridiculously excited about. I made a video all about it. I thought it was gonna go like viral, crazy popular, and it definitely didn't. And I think it had to do with the thumbnail that I used, because I'll just explain. So I made some chickens, and these are little, how do we describe these? Beaded, glow-in-the-dark chicken square. Crochet friends? So I had seen some videos where people were taking granny squares and turning them into chickens. And that's essentially what these are, although these are not granny squares. But people were taking 2 squares and then sewing them together in a way that turns them into this kind of chicken looking thing. Okay? I have a video, I'll link it below. I showed you exactly how to make them. But all you need is 2 squares and some stuffing and some creativity, and you can make this little chicken. Okay? So I had seen that people were doing it with granny squares. And then I was also seeing videos where people were making glow-in-the-dark items. And I was seeing these videos where people were doing beaded crochet. So I had seen all of those things. This was in July. And my brain was like, I want to make glow-in-the-dark beaded granny square chickens. So I did. And I was super excited about it and made a video all about it. And it's a good video. The thumbnail, so these guys glow in the dark, by the way. If you hadn't sort of predicted that or imagined that, they do. So the thumbnail that I posted for these videos was these guys in the darkness glowing. And it's not the highest quality video or picture. So not very many people watched it. I literally thought I invented something no one else had done before. And I kind of still think I did. So if you want to check this out now, link below. It's a 100% tutorial on how to make these. These are not with granny squares like I mentioned, but super, super easy. I thought it was really fun. Still fun. Didn't do very well on the tube, but anyway, took a little break and made some cute little chicken friends with beaded crochet. All the beads glow in the dark. This yarn glows in the dark. The black yarn does not, but his little comb and his beak do, and his little tail. And this guy, the whole thing glows in the dark. And they are super cool. I blame my thumbnail for the lack of going viral, but it's fine. Anyway, so I made those, and then I made another chicken that was actually a granny square chicken, like what I had seen. So I took some yarn that I had upstairs and made just 2 granny squares and made this little chicken. And he's super cute. This granny square I used a pretty big hook for the size of the yarn, so you can see like the stuffing in between these little holes. But when you back up a little bit, you don't really notice it. And I just wanted to try it with actual granny squares. So if you're going to use granny squares, just make sure you use the right size yarn and the right size hook. This was not the right sizes, but he's a cute little chicken. And he doesn't glow in the dark, but he hangs out with his little buddies. So I did those chickens between July and August while I was doing my little granny square break. And in fairness, if you've been watching my channel, I've done a ton of granny square things. Almost exclusively granny square things. So I was like, you know what? I need to try something different. So I tried something different. And I learned about corner to corner crochet. I had ordered a bunch of crochet hooks from Furls, including this wooden one. I'm not exactly sure what type of wood it is. I don't remember anymore. But I ordered this wooden crochet hook. I didn't initially like it very much. I have a video where I reviewed all the hooks I ordered because I ordered a bunch at one time. And I didn't really like this one. I thought it kind of snagged on the yarn I was using and was not a super fan. But then I was like, you know what? It's a really cute hook. It reminds me of like a Harry Potter wand. So I was like, let me try something with this hook and something that's not granny squares. So I had some of this Caron, I think they're called latte cakes yarn. I also made a video all about when I bought this. So I bought this yarn and I wanted to try to use my wooden hook and do something that wasn't granny squares. So I started on this blanket here, which is this corner to corner blanket with these holes in it. I will link below. I think it was Robin, Hooked by Robin, whose video I followed to learn how to do this. Super easy. It's basically a corner to corner crochet stitch project, but every other row, rather than doing your standard corner to corner, every other little cluster you make a gap, and it looks a little weird as a triangle as you're working it up, but then if you put it, you know, the way it will look, they turn into really nice squares. So once this is done, it's got these really cool squares. You're basically just skipping every other little hole. And what I liked about this was it's quick to work up, right? Because it's corner to corner, it's big clusters, and you're skipping a whole bunch of them. So it makes a little bit of a lighter blanket, and it was cute. I was excited. This yarn, this Caron Latte Cakes, I think it's called, is a little bit thin for the 6mm crochet hook that I've been using. It's making a very, very loose blanket, but I'm okay with it. I really like it. I had my doubts as I was working it up, but I like it. It's kind of a fuzzy yarn. It's going to be a light, loose blanket. This is a little bit kind of fall colored, or maybe even spring colored. appropriate for this time of year, and I like it. And it was fun to do something that wasn't just a granny square. So I did that, and I haven't gotten all that far on it, but we started. And then something happened in about mid-August, early August maybe, where all of my YouTube content that I follow started being about fall and Halloween stuff. I don't know why, it's way too early. I'm usually super against like starting the season before it's time for the season. Alt Knots, she was posting all of this like Halloween stuff and going to Michael's and Joanne and all the places and finding all these Halloween and fall themed things, and this was like early August. I was like, no, not that time. It's not even September. September, by the way, is the best month of the year. It's my favorite month of the year. It's my birth month. I'm turning 40 in 11 days. It's the best month. September is the best month. But I'm like, no, it's not fall until after my birthday. My birthday like usually coincides pretty closely with the solstice, the transition from summer to fall. I'm like, no, it's still summer. No Halloween. Until I was like, yes, Halloween, because she was posting all these things, including like Halloween colored yarn, and I had just done that one, and I was like, let me just go and look and see what kind of things they have. So I went to Joanne, and I found some yarn. I'm gonna link below the yarn I found, because I don't remember, I never shop at Joanne. But they had some cute colors, and I bought some colors that just looked Halloween themed, including this orange. This is, I can't remember, it'll be below. Very common Joanne brand orange. And then I bought some other yarns that were like fun sort of slime green and white, and I bought some like t-shirt yarn. I had like a whole Joanne day. But after I got that yarn, I was like, well, what am I going to do with that? And I also had some yarn that I ordered from Ice Yarns over the summer that I didn't quite know what to do with, and I didn't 100% love it. So I had like 2 or 3 skeins of white, 2 or 3 skeins of black, and I had just bought this orange. And I was like, you know what? I like that corner to corner crochet with the gaps from Hooked by Robin. So how about I just make a fall blanket, a very Halloween themed blanket. And so I did. And so this is it. Let me get a little closer for you guys. You see? So it's a corner to corner, definitely, but it's this one that I told you where every other row you skip. You make a little gap instead of another cluster. Sorry, camera battery died. But let me show you this blanket up close. So you build it as a corner to corner. And like I said, I'll link Robin's video below. But it works up super quickly. Like I said, you skip every other row. You create this little gap rather than another cluster. But you build it as a diagonal, and I just did 3 rows of each color and switched each time. So it's this fun Halloween colored diagonal blanket, and it's light, right, because it's got the holes. The yarn is pretty thick. This is all like 4 worsted weight yarn. But it's so cute and so cozy, and it worked up really quickly. And it feels so Halloween-y. And it was nice to take a break from like my granny square temperature blanket projects and all that, to try something new. So this blanket, it's like a lap blanket. It's perfect for me. Andrew is 6'5", and he's like, nah, it's too short for me, for him. But it's sort of perfect for me. And I really like it. So, I definitely felt like I was getting into the Halloween vibes when making this. And it was only like early August. Now it's like September 9th, which is still too early in my book. But I'm like totally feeling the Halloween vibes. So that was that. The last thing I was going to show you guys that I started was we went on vacation. We went to Cancun when 3 weeks ago or so. We spent a week in Cancun and we had the most wonderful trip. It was amazing. We had a great time. I've been to Cancun many times, like 15 or 20 times. Andrew had never been there. So I've stayed in a lot of the resorts, stayed in some nice ones, stayed in some not nice ones, stayed in everything in between. We stayed in a resort that I've never been to and honestly never heard of before, and it was called Live Aqua. So, by the way, if you're going to Cancun, Live Aqua was the nicest resort I have stayed in Cancun in my entire life. And I've been there probably 20 times. We had an amazing trip. But of course, because it was vacation, only crochet and knitting and yarn people would feel this way. But I was like, because it was vacation, I need to bring some yarn with me, which I did. But I didn't want to take, so I was working on this Halloween blanket at the time of our trip, but I didn't want to take all the big skeins of the big yarn and the big blanket. I wanted to start something new, but I was really kind of digging that corner to corner gap thing. So I grabbed this yarn. I will link it. I'm blanking on the name. It's also a Caron. I've talked about it before. It's this kind of fun, tropical colored cake, which I thought was really fun. But I hadn't used it. So I was like, let me grab that. And then I grabbed a white, the, what's it called? Linked below is the white yarn that I used. So I grabbed those and I started another corner to corner blanket on the plain. And I really like this one too. Isn't it cute? Now, in fairness, we had a really good time on our trip. I thought I was going to work on this like every day, every morning, with my coffee on the beach. I brought it with me to the beach like almost every day. Didn't touch it. We had so much fun. So this blanket got neglected. So I really only worked on it on the plane. But I think it's really cute. I used a good sized crochet hook, so this one, like I mentioned, I think the yarn was too thin for the hook, or the hook was too big for the yarn, or whatever. Still like it. This one I think was perfect. These are all the same. But this one I think is exactly right. I'm using a 5, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'm using the Clover Amour with these. And it's perfect. It's just the right size for this pattern. So I'm doing the same thing where I do 3 rows, yeah, of the colored yarn and then 3 rows of the white. Repeat, repeat. And by the way, if you're like, oh my god, look at all those loose ends. Yeah, that stresses me out too. Normally I have to tidy up all my ends. But with this pattern, you kind of don't have to. If you can allow yourself to just look at them while the project is ongoing. Because, let me show you on my Halloween blanket. It was the same on my Halloween blanket. I had all these freaking ends hanging out everywhere on the sides. I didn't weave in any ends at all, not a single one, because you weave them all in as you make your border. So this border, let's see if I can remember what I did. And the Crochet by Robin video, she shows you what she does. I pretty much copied her. And then I made my own little small modifications. But you leave all your ends hanging. And then when you make your border, you go over all of them. So I started, I don't know if you can see, with this little border where I took one strand of the white yarn and one strand of the orange yarn. And I just went all around the blanket doing like chains and single crochets. And when you do the pattern, you'll see there's certain blocks where you have this bigger gap where you can do some single crochets, and then you have other blocks where you just do some chains. Watch her video, she'll explain, but I basically just went around the whole blanket doing like chains and single crochets with double-stranded yarn, and I crocheted over all of my ends, over all of them. And that kind of tidies your blanket up. And then to finish the blanket, I just did half double crochets, and you get this same pattern where I did like 3 half double crochets in a little cluster, and then I think I chained 1 or 2, and I just worked my way around. And I just got this like tidy border using my orange yarn. And I just crocheted over all my ends. So, and then of course I cut them after I had crocheted over them. But I didn't have to worry about weaving in a billion ends. It's kind of amazing. So, watch her video and you'll see exactly what I did. She explains it way better than me. But anyway, you can do that with all of these corner to corner projects. And I have a small spoiler alert for next month's video. I'm working on a few things right now, but I'm doing another corner to corner project, but not this one with the gaps in it, just like a standard corner to corner project. Oh, there's so many things you can do. So I'm still digging my granny squares. I'm exploring some other things. I've bought some books on doing some different amigurumi things, and I've bought some patterns for some other amigurumi projects. So I think this fall I'm going to try some little 3-dimensional stuff, maybe a little more advanced than just a little chicken. But that's what I did with my summer. So sorry that I was a month behind, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Fun stuff is happening this fall, so make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click on the description. You'll see a bunch of links. You can follow us on Instagram if you want to become a member of the channel. You can support us financially if you would like. There's a join button right below the video, or it's in the description if you don't see it below your video if you're watching on a mobile device. You can become a member for as little as 99 cents a month and support us in that way and get access to additional content. You can donate to my marathon fund. I'm running the New York City Marathon in November, and I have to raise $3,000 to qualify to run that. I'm like $650 in with like 7 weeks to go, so it's getting a little bit stressful. So if you like watching this content, please click the link in the description and donate anything you can. If you cannot donate anything, that's also fine. I'm just happy you guys are here. I don't know why I'm like petting this chicken. I'm obsessed. I would like for him to get more attention. So go and watch how I made this guy also. And make one of your own. He's super cute. And I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for hanging out with me. Sorry I was late. I've got like 5 more videos coming like in the next 2 weeks, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. I'm getting sun in my eyes, so it's time for me to go inside. But until next time, take care, guys.